Okay, so we did the chibi version of a hoodie. This time we're going into the totally opposite direction, and that is to draw a more serious looking hood. I wanted to do a figure, and I had even mentioned this in the previous video on this subject, that sometimes you want to draw a figure that has a hood over his or her head, and you can't even see the eyes. You know, it's completely obscuring the whole upper part of the head. And so that's what we're going to be doing here. Now notice I drew sort of an indication of the head shape, and then I'm putting the hood just a little bit outside, above that line, just to, realistically allow space for his hair or whatever. And I'm beginning just by creating a loose outline. Now I'm going to go ahead, for my purposes, and go ahead and do the actual opening of the hood way down low here, so that, as I said, we're not going to be able to see his eyes at all. And, the whole purpose of this style, I think, is to create this feeling of mystery, to create a character that looks very intense, maybe a little scary. And this is based a little bit off of the sort of Assassin's Creed look, though, of course, I'm not doing the exact shape, the more elaborate shape of that particular style of hood, but something along those lines where you can't see the guy's face. And notice that in this version, there's quite a lot of space down here beneath the chin. That would not always be the case. It all depends on the cut of the cloth and so forth. But to make it a little bit interesting, I decided to make it a slightly off-center. And you'll see as I add more details how that works out. But I thought there could be maybe two seams that come up from here and sort of work their way across the upper surface of the head. And again, these lines like this help to convey the surface of the cloth, as well as, they become a sort of a design element in the actual drawing. But I find that without these lines going across, you are robbed of a certain tool that allows you to convey the surface. And so I'm adding even a second line here that comes across and adds further definition. Definition, see, that's another word instead of indication. People are just all over my words now. It's like if I say delineate, they always point it out. You said delineate instead of indicate. What's going on? Have you abandoned the word indicate, man? Keep the faith. I'm a little bit crazier than usual today. Usually I wait until the last third of each video to lose my mind. This time I'm getting a head start. Anyway, having drawn the opening, it allows me to sort of build the excess cloth around the neck, around that opening, and you can see a whole bunch of lines begin to form down here that are conveying the various wrinkles and so forth. I find that, most hoodies coming across the top of the head, there's going to be relatively few wrinkles. There may be something up at the top depending on the cut of the cloth, but most of the wrinkles are going to come down here around the neck. And it can be kind of just trial and error of putting in lines and taking them back out and so forth until you find the combination that you like. Now, I said earlier that I decided to make the central line of his cloak a little bit off-centered, like it kind of got tugged off to one side or something. Or, again, it could be a little bit of that three-quarter view thing. But I think adding something like this and pulling it off to one side sometimes can be an interesting, make the drawing a little more interesting. If you like it to be a little more like right down the middle, by all means, go ahead and do that. In which case you would kind of follow more the nose through the center like that. Well, I think we've got the major lines here. I'm going to go ahead and do this in time-lapse, but I think if you hit pause at various points in the shading, you can kind of get a sense of the choices that I'm making, and if you want to try to replicate that in a drawing. A lot of people like to sort of follow along with these lessons line by line. And then other people, which I always like to see, take their own characters and just use these lessons as a way of enhancing characters of their own creation. So let's go ahead and kick it into time-lapse to finish off this drawing. Okay, so that kind of finishes it up for this one. As you can see, the shading is pretty crucial in terms of conveying the form of this hood. And if you want some pointers on how to figure out shadows and light sources and stuff like that, I'll go ahead and link to this other video that I did not so long ago, and I used a robot as an example to talk about light sources and where the shadows fall and different stuff like that. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the last drawing. All right, so we went from the cute to the dark and intense, and now back to the cute again. It's kind of like boy, girl, boy. I always go cute, dark, cute. Maybe. I'm not really sure if that's a pattern I do or not, but it's working for me on this video, I hope. We got the drawing of the girl with the cute pigtails, and what I decided to do for this one is to show you what does a hoodie look like when it is, you know, taken down off the head and then seen from the side, dropping back, you know, off the shoulders. So I'm going to show you the basic shape, and then we'll get into the details of it. You know, she's taken the hood off of her head, and it's just sort of flopping around in the back, and I think that's actually part of one of the appealing looks of the hoodie and why it's a popular fashion choice, is because it looks good, of course, when it's covering the head, but it also looks kind of attractive even when it's pulled down off the head and sort of back flopping off the shoulders, as I'm saying. Now, I've got the basic shape of it here. You can see it has this vaguely triangular look, but I'm going to zoom in right now to show you some of the details of where I'm going to place the wrinkles right here. Okay, now you could just sort of leave it like this if you wanted to, but I think to make it seem a little more convincingly made of cloth, it needs a few wrinkles. So I'm breaking it into maybe 3 parts here by way of these diagonal lines. And watch what happens when you get to the edge here, and this is maybe something that extends to any drawing of cloth, is you often get these interlocking folds, you know. So this line is coming in here, it's creating a fold that folds back like this across and sort of hooks back again, and then you have to sort of respond to that with this edge line, the contour, and so, you know, there's not laws of how to do this. It's sort of something you develop over time, and by no means am I saying that this is perfectly rendered, but you can see how this helps to add to that sense of this being made of cloth. And for some reason I always like to do a sort of a double line at the edge of like a cuff or some piece of material like this that helps, for me, convey that feeling that it's sewn at the edge, you know, sort of like a seam, or what do you call that? I never. Again, he never knows the word for anything. Why do we keep watching his videos? In any case, I'm going to add, while we're down here, just a few extra wrinkles across the shoulder, even though that's really, you know, I guess technically speaking, not the subject matter at hand. But why not? We can go ahead and get into that and show you again how this process of sort of playing around with various diagonal lines that help convey wrinkles on a piece of cloth. And you know, you don't want to overdo it. That's I have been guilty of that in the past, of going too far in terms of adding wrinkles to stuff. But certainly it does help. Oh, and here's the drawstrings, pull strings, stringy things coming off of the hood. And you know, that's the thing, is I could learn the names for these things, but it would just, you know, it wouldn't have that krilly video feel if I knew the names. See, I'm doing it on purpose, people. I swear. In any case, time for me to go ahead and do the final line work on this. I'm going to pull back and pull out the trusty black Prismacolor to finish off this last drawing. Okay, well, there you have it, the last drawing there. I hope you enjoyed that, and some of the shading, again, it all goes in time-lapse, but if you hit the pause button and so forth, you can hopefully see the various locations where I decide to add shading. And, of course, we got to add the blushes. If you don't add the blushes, the drawing is not finished. So, back to the crazy. fake British accent. I think the English people hate it when Americans do fake English accents. So I should probably stay away from that one. Let me know what you think, my English viewers. If you like it or if it hurts your ears, basically. For now, though, let's go ahead and pull back and show you all the different drawings. Okay, so there you have all the different drawings together. I hope you found this video useful, and let me know if you enjoyed it. I like doing these sort of hoodie-based videos. They're a lot of fun to do. Let me know of other topics you'd like to see me cover. But for now, let's go ahead and thank anyone who has supported me by getting any of my books. We've got Meeky Falls, we've got Brody's Ghost. Hey, I saw this in my local Barnes & Noble the other day. That made me very happy. Also saw this in the very same Barnes & Noble, Mastering Manga, right there on the shelf. Thanks so much to those of you who have supported me that way. But for now, let's go ahead and lay down the pencil. I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful, and I'll be back with another one real soon.